So, welcome back, or welcome, if it's the first time you guys are watching it. This is the Writers Room Retcon. To give you an idea, if you haven't watched before, we take a franchise and we see what we can do with it. If you have been keeping up, you'll notice that we've done Predator, we've done Alien, so it naturally feels that it's a perfect segue into...
Alien versus Predator.
Alien versus Predator.
Tricky one, this.
Yeah. Again, we do not want to rip on what has come before. It's just two people without studio pressure. That said, it's going to be very hard to do this episode without being a little bit, because...
There isn't a franchise.
There isn't a franchise. There were two films made that were very poor. Again, nothing to the people that were involved in making them, the hundreds of people involved. Hats off to you, you made something, and that's excellent. But, as two fans of the series... It is very disappointing. So this is one that we've been looking forward to doing, I'd say.
So let's get to the table and do this thing.
AVP, baby.
All right.
So, AVP is a bit of a weird one. Because, as we've seen, if you haven't seen our previous videos, we did Alien and we did Predator. Every time. We did Alien, we've done Predator. And in Alien, there's 6 films. In Predator there's about 5 or 4, so they're their own franchises in their own rights.
Yes.
Now I might be wrong in this, but at the end of Predator 2, Danny Glover gets into the spaceship and you see all these different skulls, and there's a xenomorph, the famous alien head skull, and that then teased that they were part of the same universe. Everyone went mad and wild. Years and years and years and years later, they finally made an Alien versus Predator movie, which
was...
I want to say it's 2008, but I might be wrong on that.
I said this months ago now. Hold on.
AVP 2004.
Wow. So 2004.
And AVP 2 was 2007. Okay. Not a great year for cinema. So, as we've said many times before, and I'm not going to keep going on about it, you know, they made something great. However, AVP fundamentally, in my opinion, missed out on, like, it skipped all the stuff that made Predator cool. So in a weird way, as an Alien film, it kind of makes a bit of sense, maybe. But as a Predator film, it's all over the place. Okay, they're in the cold, which we know they don't hunt. They fire it up. They want to hunt these things, so they use humans, even though in the previous films, humans are the ones that they're after. They suggest that they've been around for thousands of years and that we knew who they were, even though clearly we didn't, because they're not in our culture. And then more annoyingly, at the end, Predator, which hunts and is single-mindedly, teams up with the female and teaches her how to do it.
It was that shot of them running away from the explosion, and in my mind, they look like they're holding hands, running away from it.
Pretty much. Abysmal. There's a couple of cool scenes in it. When you first see the Predator and the Alien fight, I enjoyed that sequence. But overall, it is a very difficult film. AVP Requiem, I've only managed to bring myself to watch all the way through twice. Once. Second viewing, I always get halfway through. It's a mess. Leading on from the end of Alien versus Predator, where the alien has impregnated a predator and makes a special one, it crashes. And then it's a One Tree Hill OC Beverly Hills 90210 film with an alien and a predator in it. It doesn't make much sense. It's all over the shop and it cheapens it. The only thing cool about AVP 2 was the ending, where they collect the stuff and you see that they've been collecting the predator stuff clearly from the first film. There's a government group that are on it. But, I mean, X amount of films into it and they're only just clocking on feels like a cheap start. So in my opinion, where we would usually see the timeline and we would go in, straight away, I'm just going to do a big... They didn't get it right.
There's nothing... there's no point. I don't think... Like, I know we say this a lot, and, like, no disrespect to the filmmakers, although this is fairly disrespectful because it is their work. But, like, it's...
It's hard to build.
This is the retcon thing.
Exactly.
And we're retconning this shit.
Yeah. I also think for a film series that only had 2 films, and the last one was in 2007, even if you didn't want to, if it was start up again, I don't feel like anyone would go in with AVP 3. I feel like if they were going to do it anyway, they would restart. It just happens to be that on this occasion, I'd probably agree with the studios and be like, scrap, start again.
So look, yeah, do you mind just can I nick your wipey actually? Just
Yes.
Let's just strike it because we don't need this
All the way through, yeah. So we've done, if you've seen our previous videos, we did a Predator version and we did an Alien version. And in Alien, in our version, we hinted at a Predator being in the storage container because we knew eventually we wanted to do AVP. And I don't have a problem with these 2 universes existing. I just have a problem with how the film was handled.
Yeah.
So with that in mind, how would you bring these 2 big characters, big franchises in their own right together for one?
Yeah, I mean, well, the way I
Megazord.
Yes, exactly. The way I see this is this is really like a start of a franchise. It's not like us taking things and kind of making them new. This is a completely new go at it.
100%.
So what I was thinking is that like perhaps the thing which we should do is look at like what we normally do is look at things which matter to the series and write those down.
Mm-hmm.
And so there's a chance to, so like I think that like we still, it's Aliens, stuff which makes Aliens good, stuff which makes Predator good, squidged together and see if there's anything else we can add to it, or yeah, as a starting point.
Yeah.
So I think that like you got for Aliens, I'm gonna write. I don't know because we're doing AVP, so they need to like micromanage this thing. I think it's probably a case of just being like, look, you got space. If we do Alien first, we got space. What else is like horror? I think some of that.
Yeah, horror, suspense.
So, like ships and stuff. Space is difficult, so it's like ships and you know all that sort of stuff. You got whatever you do, you make it worse.
Yeah.
Whatever you do, you make it worse.
And then I'll do Predator on this side.
Yep, good idea.
So for Predator, you've got heat,
Yep.
war, conflict.
Yep.
You've got hunting,
Yep.
best of the best.
Like dangerous environment, you know, like the environment's is hard work.
Yeah. Okay, so that's quite interesting because on one side we've got space, which is endless cold and everything else, and on the other side we've got heat and everything. So, but this is the point, isn't it? It's like these are 2 different species that will intersect.
Like what's normal with these things? I have got some thoughts. Have you got thoughts about this?
I do have a thought. Yeah,
so
I do have an idea.
Do yours because I think we did mine. We did Alien last month, so it's you. Didn't I do a lot of the talking?
No, you did towards the end. My idea was to go in from 4 and you went straight in after 2 and then it made so much more sense. So on this one I'm going to jump in again, only because I feel like you will fix the mistakes that are obviously glaring in mine. But this is how I would go on it. In order for Alien to make sense, the aliens are mindless. They're just, they're terrifying, they're violent, they're all over the place. But essentially what they're doing is just gathering, hunting, building. They're insects.
We need to start the timer.
Yeah.
It's not fair. So, as is always the case,
30-second timer.
Yeah.
Plop.
So we've got an hour to pull this together.
Yeah.
Go.
So, as I was saying, Alien.
Sorry.
They're just like insects. There's no like we want to take over the world, stuff like that. Predators are only interested in hunting the best of the best. Now, an alien would be something interesting to hunt, but it doesn't feel like aliens are going to be necessarily in conflicts or war or however it plays out. So this is my idea, right? This is how I would do it.
Yeah.
I would start it as though it was an alien film.
Yeah.
Go in for that. And then I would introduce the Predator in end of Act 1, Act 2, and allow that to be developed. In all the other films, it's been something where they both show up at the same time. And in mine, I'd be like, what makes more sense, the Predator or the Alien film?
I couldn't agree with you more.
So this is my idea. It starts with an Alien film. Now, there's lots of bits that we'll need to fine tune. My thought is, you set it far enough into the future, which the alien films are in the future anyway, far enough in that the alien species, as it were, are now known. People are aware of them.
Yeah.
Okay, the Wayland Industry has done their Wayne Corp, I think it's not Wayne Corp, is it? Wayland Corp. Whatever the alien corporation is. Wayne Enterprises, Batman. Batman is expanding his portfolio. Whatever it is, they've not been able to keep a wraps on it. It's been too many incidences, too many like eyewitnesses, too many things. So there is a group. They are the best of the best. They are sent in to deal with any xenomorph encounters. They are few and far between, but it's kind of like, like the SAS and all this. They train for the inevitable, but when they're sent out, they're sent in, they deal with it. They are the best ones.
Got it.
There is a facility. It's been a very long time since there's been an outbreak. An alien flag is sent. These guys are sent in to deal with it because they've gotten out of hand and everything else. These guys go in, and something straight off the bat isn't right. It's not your typical alien encounter or anything else. This place is also supposed to be like a mining facility, and it's significantly much more advanced than a mining facility. Okay, they're kind of kept in the dark. As they go through, they stumble upon the xenomorphs. These guys start taking them out and everything else. Then gets revealed in these mines, which are hot, like they're hot mines, like coal, kind of all that kind of stuff, that this is the surface. Underneath is a facility, and Wayland have never stopped with the aliens. This is where the experiments are going, and they've broken free, and they've sent their best in to deal with it. This is when they then realise this must be where, or what they believe, where they come from. There must be like all of this kind of stuff going on, because they're like, usually they just pop up and they go and deal with it. It's like an egg's launch something else. This is like clearly a laboratory where they're studying them and all of this. They've broken out. So these guys are clearly pissed because they're like, our job is to eradicate them and you're studying them. There's a back and forth between some of the hierarchies. At this point, there's another alien in. Alien gets taken out immediately by a predator, and the predator starts hunting this elite group. This elite group are like, we have to blow up the facility and just get rid of all traces. It's the only way. You can't leave any of these things. Like one of those eggs could cause problems. So they blow it up. At the point as they're leaving the mines, they come into the predator. The predator has come down to track where they believe the aliens have originated from, because as it turns out over the course of this film, Wayland is still doing experiments and dropping off eggs. When things get out of hand, they send this team in, but they're still studying, picking out small desert moons or small offshoots to study and look into it, and it gets out of hand. The predators, like they do, have tracked down, because when they get there, they're dealt with every time, but they're aware of this mysterious beast that clear out all towns, and the predators have come to where they are created or in the lab. You've got the predators, the Marines trying to get out because the bomb's going off, and the aliens chasing them, and you get this ensuing conflict of them stuck in the middle between these two.
I like it. I really like once again the elite team thing, which is something which, we were sort of talking about that with Predator as kind of like a through line, and it carried on in our Predator 3 idea. I like the exterminating thing as being their kind of like, that's what they do. They go there to crush it out in some way. Mm-hmm. So what I got is that, like, as the dog again. Yep, very good. Nice to see you, Diesel. So what I was thinking is that, like, same as you with like Aliens film, and it turns into a Alien versus Predator as it goes along. So to kind of take some of your stuff and start to squidge it into what I'm thinking already off the bat. Mm-hmm. That, like, if it opens up, there's like, I was thinking of the planet, because like there's a line in both a line in Aliens and a line in Predator, which I think can help us out here. In Alien, it's they mostly come out at night, mostly, mm-hmm. And in Predator, it mostly comes when it comes when it's weather gets hot. I was thinking that there's this planet, and like if it's kind of like a bog, like a sort of like, I don't know, about this deep in water or something, and it's sort of like if you imagine like a marshland, or like in Florida with like alligators and shit. Mm-hmm. And the planet, what happens is that when the sun comes round, it heats up a lot, and then in the night it all fucking freezes over, And so you have this day-night cycle where like the planet is hostile as shit.
Yeah, love it.
And like we got like trees and things and all that sort of stuff, but like it freezes up, all the fucking water freezes. Then like at night, in the daytime, it all evaporates and it's sloshy, watery. And so I really like that the planet is like why are they there? It's like they're there kind of like mining, doing stuff. It's also like a cover sort of thing going on. That's really cool. So that kind of is like the reason why this is there. And I was thinking that like I couldn't quite square it, but like your thing about something's fucked up with the base and they're sort of getting out is nice. And like so the conflict, which is critical to the Predator story, the conflict is the humans versus the aliens, and that's what's attracting the Predator.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, what could happen is that, once again, to kind of nick your idea and kind of like sort of squidge it a bit like we did with the Robocop thing, is that like these elite team are being kind of sent in to kind of sort this place out. We need to iron that out, and we got another like fucking 40 minutes to do that, so it's fine. But like some sort of kind of whether it's like maybe a rival corp by this point or something, or maybe it's a hostile takeover and that they're literally going there just to kind of like shut them out or something. Who knows? We can figure that out, because that's the other thing. Whoopsie daisy is
corporate greed. Yeah, of course.
So then, and I was like thinking of like some stuff which could happen with it, is that the guys arrive and there's now starting to kind of like contain the aliens, and the Predator's beginning to kind of like hunt aliens moving and that sort of stuff. So this is in the daytime. Predator, so like the aliens are kind of like being, when the team got there, the aliens are really stirred up, and it's like they shit. That's what I was going to do. Sorry, rewind back a bit. I was like, if the team gets there and the place is meant to be relatively quiet because the aliens haven't got much to stir them up at the moment, they're just going in to exterminate this thing. It's something nice to exterminate, which I was like, with your idea, which I could kind of jerry-rig that a bit. But the aliens are really stirred up, and it's like because the Predator's there hunting and kind of stirring the thing up, and I'm not sure yet. So they're fighting, nighttime happens, and that like the humans are dealing with the aliens during the night. So the ground's all frozen up and the aliens are kind of like coming at the base, and they're doing like maybe something with fences or something, some cool thing which we've not seen before. And then when the daytime comes, it all melts. The aliens start to bugger off and get a bit quieter during the day, and that's when the Predator shows up. And like once again, it's everything you do, you make it worse. So I was like, they've got to leave one outpost and go to another one. And I was thinking that this could be like so we need some sort of sabotagey stuff, some backwards and forwards, the Predator turns up and that sort of thing in the day-night cycle. The thing which I was like, what would be really cool to kind of like put something new to this is, I think what could be unique to Alien vs Predator is maybe movement. And so like what we do is on the planet, because it freezes and melts all the time, I was like, cars aren't going to work because it's just going to freeze. It's like boats aren't going to work. So planes would work actually, but they're a bit boring because you just fly there and it's not going to be very exciting.
You have it that the atmosphere is too dense
like,
or something.
Like walkers or something, like some sort of thing which kind of like walks over the terrain. And then what you could do is have it so that like when they're moving along, because they're kind of like moving during a point in time, they could kind of freeze in place. And you have that tension of like, you know, like the train to, what's it called, the zombie film?
Train to Busan, it has to stop. It's
going to freeze up and they're going to be stuck in a certain point. And then you've got a thing where like this is a moving platform and you've got this sort of feeling of movement happening. As I say, this day-night cycle. And then ultimately it gets to a point where like it's going to be magic hour or first thing in the morning, either of those things. You get that inflection point when Alien versus Predator happens, which is the fight. You know, we know Act 3 is going to be the big Alien versus Predator moment. And so if we know that like once it's sort of like motion, and we know that we're going to be kind of zigzagging between it. So what I want to just kind of like think about a bit is the exterminating part. I wonder if there's like, we could make a new thing where these special marines do there's a thing like a sort of gas or something which has been developed or something cool which they know kind of like eradicates like aliens. So it's that kind of thing of like, maybe it's like a corporate restructure or something has led to some sort of fuck up, and because this is the reason why this place has gone sideways, is because they just kind of like didn't give it the funding it needed, and it's like perhaps a certain lab in a country where like maybe they left the door open. It's like something's happened, and I believe that is, it's all open to debate, but so like it's been serious underfunding and corporate greed and takeovers and that sort of stuff.
I like it.
And so as I say, maybe if they've like something which we've not seen, because we've seen nukes in both films, like something which could kind of like make it so that the stuff stayed, but everything else was kind of like wiped out. That'd be like another nice new thing. Because I was like thinking, what new stuff for Alien vs Predator? And I think movement and travel could be cool, kind of like a wagon trainy type vibe or something.
Yeah.
I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah. No. I like it a lot. I love the idea of the planet, because then it's like, so my idea with the mine kind of worked because it was deep underground, but it was dark and it was hot, and you could have both. But ultimately, you got forward, you got back, you're going to get pinned. The reality is, it'd be great for a short film.
But the thing
is,
what we line up with is we know that like that predators like it hot, so setting it on fucking Antarctica or wherever that was is not going to work. Good.
So I like the idea of it freezing and water, and as the temperature changes, it's something else that they have to deal with. I also like that it's like we got to deal with this during the day, this during the night, and then there's a crossover in between.
Kind of like that feeling. And do you remember? I certainly got it when I watched the Blair Witch. That each time nighttime came, there's this feeling of, oh no.
Yeah, exactly.
And so like if each time like it swaps to the next condition, it's like, oh fuck.
Yeah, there's no respite, there's no nothing, they can just get going on it.
Yeah.
Okay, so you've got an elite group.
Elite group's essential, because that is critical to this. And you know what? It's been the Colonial Marines, they're not elite, but they were the best of the best.
Yeah, but this group...
That one looks horrible.
Yeah, it does. This has been so this group have been put together. So we said it in a time where aliens have become common knowledge, and so in response, the Wayland Tech or Wayland Corp, whatever they're freaking called, they've been bought out, or like they've gone under. This group of elites.
What about OCP have bought them?
Yeah.
Cyberdyne
or Umbrella Corporation. Yeah.
To stick with W.S. Anderson.
Yeah. So the corporation, they send in these groups, and if there's like an outbreak or there's something going on, they go and deal with it. Okay. I like the idea that the outbreaks have been orchestrated by the group to kind of like test things out, and this group are just sent in to clean their messes, and then they're sent back to this base. But maybe we're getting bogged down in a bit too much a little bit.
But I hear where you're at. Yeah.
Either way, they deal with a cleanup. Act 0.0 is them, the aftermath of, or like just at the very end, taking out the last alien, dealing with the fact that like 30 of them went in, 20 came out. They're all their close friends. They trained for years, so they're like really downtrodden. There's been a lot of violence. We see the aftermath. They come out and then they drop this gas that sterilize. I mean, the only problem with that is then why do they go in the first place? Kind of thing.
It needs needing up. Like if the gas needed some sort of, or not gas, but something which kind of like necessitates. We need to we got time. We need to figure that out.
But they deal with this as they're coming back. They're like, look, we know you just got off a mission. They're like, but we've got a real urgent case. There's been another pop up. They're like, another one.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And they're like, we have got, it's a code red. They're worried about a spread, and you guys are the closest ones. And they're like, where is it? They name this place. I'd not even heard of that place. Why are they worried about it? They're like, there's somewhere. The corporation's got some facilities out there. They're really worried about being compromised. There's scientists and civilians. They send them in. So these guys are already downtrodden. They're already pissed off. They're not as many of them, but they're the closest ones. They may not have the regular.
Closest is nice. Yeah.
So they're 20. So they send them in. They go in, and there's not a single alien about. But what they do realise is that these aliens haven't hatched, they've been grown or something. Like, they find the people and they're like, these fuckers weren't, like, it wasn't an infestation, this was like a breeding ground. Like, this might be where they come from. And so they try and get on with corporate, and corporate are like, no, we just want you to take them out, leave the facility. They're then pissed. Aliens emerge, as you say, nighttime comes, they come out, tear a few of them. These guys are good at fighting them, so it's not completely, you might lose one or two. But at that point, as dawn comes, Predator comes in, takes out a few of the aliens, takes out them. They're just like...
Because maybe that's the thing, is that, like, what we do is we have it so that the first fight is almost like the attracting. If you imagine there's the spaceships going around, the first fight between them is kind of like, they'll be driving along going, whoop, so they're arriving at this point unbeknownst to us. And so then, like, have that fight, sit and breathe, and start letting the alien movie flesh out a bit more.
100%.
And so the next combat, or once again, whatever you do, you make it worse. So they start trying to fix something. So maybe they're like, something's broken there, or something's happened, or whatever, and they need to move.
Yeah. And
that's when that next combat, when the gets to nighttime, they're dealing with the aliens, and then just like at the the cusp of dawn is happening, so the aliens are still about. You just get 3 laser dots out of nowhere, and somebody's like.
So these guys realise that, like, the infestation is a hell of a lot worse than they originally thought. It's not like 1 or 2 and the base is in jeopardy. Like, however many they've grown down there, they're like, they find the schematics. They're like, this is like, I don't know, 20 stories deep. We've only dealt with level 1. Like, we need to come out and nuke, right? As they've done it, their ship is totaled, right? Predator, as we later find out, or we don't need to find out.
Predator could sabotage.
Predator has sabotaged their ship to prevent them from going. They're like, there is another facility that has its own arrival and transportation. They kept it separate in case there was ever an outbreak, so that they couldn't get on. But the annoying thing is, it's the other side. How do we cross it? They find the walkers, and they're like, that's the only way. Maybe they find a scientist alive in the facility that's like hidden up in one of the things. He's the one kind of explaining there's this other facility and all this. They're blaming him, and he's like, we have to understand it. He's like, that people were experimenting with viruses all over the world.
Well, if we could, I hear you. That character, we need to kind of spend some time.
But something like that. Yeah. But then they get into the walkers to cross, and as you say, they're like He's like, the aliens won't come out during the day, but the Predator does and starts taking them out. They manage to fight off. They've got these mecha suits, but then at night, as you say, it freezes in place, and the conflict has drawn the aliens. So the aliens come out. They have to fight them off. Then the Predator arrives, and the Predator and the aliens fight, gives them enough time to start getting away. Then the Predator starts to hunt them. In conflict, things freeze. They get there. They get to the facility. And at this point, that they realise that they're not going to get off. There are no more spaceships. There's no exit pods. Their ship's broken. It's going to get nighttime soon. Aliens are going to come. What's left of them is going to get taken out by the Predator. They also then start to realise they've been herded in this direction. The Predator wants them in this direction. And they realise that they're like, there's no way out. Like, we're completely killed off.
What do you think? I love it.
So then at this point, they're like, we can't live through this, but what we can do is prevent whatever's happening from going. I was like, both facilities are on the surface. They were like, but underneath is where it's all going. So then they go underground with the idea of being, if we take our, worst case of emergency, maybe perhaps the idea being is at the very beginning, when things are getting overrun, you see someone go for the bomb and they pull them away and they manage to fight it. And the idea being is they always take with them this pocket nuke, with the idea being is if worst comes to the worst, we nuke. Like there and then. It's not one that's dropped from orbit, it's one that they press to wipe out. And at this point, they're like, if we take it deep enough, we'll do enough structural damage, this planet will blow up and we won't have to worry. So they take the mines in to blow up the planet, and then of course when they get underground, the aliens are there, the Predator's there, they're caught out between the two. Something like that maybe? Or am I getting too...
No, it's good. There's some stuff which I think we can start to iron out. We should probably... I know we're a little hedge for doing this stuff, but I think this is probably the play to give us an extra 9 minutes on actually
developing the act.
Yeah.
So once again, as Matt's drawing out his lovely diagram, The 3-act structure, as you all know, is the very most common way of structuring a story, which is why we've developed ours into 3. And then you have now, in most modern movies, in fact, in most modern culture, Act 0.1, which, as Matt coined ages ago, and I will continue to use, the promise. The idea that this is what you're going to be in store for. So Act 1 sets up the incident, Act 2 deals with the incident, Act 3 is the aftermath, final last situation of the incident. Act 0.1 is a little sneak preview of what's coming.
So I think we're sort of settled in that, which is something with the Marines taking out an alien infestation.
Yeah, but like the end of it. So like it starts off and they're like, you see bodies, you see alien parts. It's like it drops you right into the middle of the conflict at the end.
I'm going to have to move the dog. I could shout at him. I'll try that. Diesel, no. And then there's a dog, and he's barking, and he's about this big.
So the act, so it's the Marines' end of cleanup, like near end of cleanup, shall we say?
Yeah. So I think I should let it breathe, man. Let there be like.
Don't get me wrong. I'm not talking like it's the aftermath. I just mean that like rather than it be
maybe they should come in like on a dropship, land, do like marine-y stuff. And as I say, maybe this is where we sort of introduce. They sort of need to deploy this thing, and they need to cover the stuff and all this sort of business. Shooty. Get into the dropship, move to a certain. Do you see what I mean? That we can establish that there is this mobile thing. And so, like, if you want to use the nuke, then what you do is you promise the nuke here.
Yeah.
So it's like we've got a nuke if all goes wrong, so it's not going to go wrong. And so, it can look like it's maybe going to need it. So don't worry, we've got... Okay,
so Act 0.1 is a facility overrun. Yeah. So then Act 1 is Marines come in, best of the best.
Yeah. I'm going to let you finish the sentence.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So Act 1, we just see aliens tearing apart a facility and everything else. Act 0.1. Act 1, hear me out, I kind of got this.
Yep.
Act 1, Marines drop off, clear it out, do whatever. At this point, we're introduced to their weird walker things, which they use. One guy's swamped by aliens, and they're like, don't you dare press the button. It's like, we're coming for you, don't you dare press it. He's in there getting kind of like claustrophobic because they're trying to get in. He's got this big button at the back of him. He's like kind of going for it. Something comes in, takes them all out. Here they're like, phew. They're like, cleanup's done. Like, send in the final cleanup crew, but we've managed to do it. They then get boarded up. Half of Act 1 is then them being told, we know you guys just had a hell of a fight. We know that there's, you've taken some casualties, but we've had another incident and you are the closest. We don't want this to get out of hand because it's company ground. They're like, okay, send us on our way. As they're going, one of the things that's not really established, maybe, this is just a maybe, the Predator is in a spaceship. And in Predator 1, Predator 2, it's there, it spots someone really great, and they leave. We're now in the future. It's no different than in Predator, where they're walking in the jungle, or in Predator 2, where he's in a car. They follow. The difference is that we now have the ships as well. So the Marines jump in a ship, and at the end of Act 1, we see the Predator seeing them, and their ship taking off. Act 2, they arrive at the facility to deal with the aliens. They realise the planet is all messed up. It's your water freezing and everything else. They get there and realise this isn't your typical infestation. There's no one left alive. It's all gone wrong. They find a scientist, kind of explains, Predator attacks. They're just like, we are not equipped to deal with this. And they're like, how many are there? And he's like, you have 48 people. That means you have a most of 48 xenomorphs. He's like, there's 20 of us. This is doable. We have a walker. We'll be fine. And he's just like, they've broken free. Like, there's a lot more than that. He's like, we've been experimenting for years. He's like, how many are there? And he's like, countless. He's like, hundreds. And they're just like, and they're all, and he's like, when it comes to nighttime, so they're like, shit. They go to get their ship. The Predator has disabled it. So they then take the walkers to go to the other facility. Then we have Act 2 of aliens attacking at night. Only takes a day and a night. You don't want it to be more. Yeah. So they're going during the day. Predators follow, like attacks a couple of them. They get into the walker. Aliens come out. Big old battle and everything else. A few of them make it. Get to the facility. There's nothing left. Act 3, they're just like, we've abandoned the walker, so that's our best bet, is just to get back and nuke it. And so then Act 3, aliens, predators, still duking it out. They've got to get back into the middle of it to set off the nuke to stop this from spreading. So Act 2, realise. So let me go over, because I'm kind of like fleshing it through. Act 1, Marines take over, do brilliantly, see a walker, get the promise of the nuke. Predators watching, they leave. They're then sent to another planet. They arrive, realise this place is not what they think it is. It's a testing facility. There's tons of them about. They go to leave, their machine's been destroyed. They use the walker to get across. Halfway through, the aliens attack. It's really bad. Predator comes in the morning. All badness. They get to the facility that they have to abandon because it's alien proof but not predator proof. Act 3, there's no things left. They have no idea what this thing is. It's now engaging with aliens. It's finding them as interesting as the humans. Wasn't expecting them. They're just like, we have to nuke it. The only one is on board the walker, so they go back to the walker they've abandoned, and you've got a big, say, couple of 8 predators versus a whole load of aliens at dusk and twilight, and a few Marines that are basically on a suicide mission to get into the middle of the battle and hit the button.
I think it's cool. It's some things which, I like it. We got the broad shape of it. There's one thing which is just a kind of almost semantics thing up the front here, and there's some things which I think we could kind of just shape, and then stuff flesh out some of the characters and things.
Oh yeah, 100%.
So I'm not going, and that's the problem which you got to fix. See you in 30 minutes.
But bare bones of a structure.
Yeah, so it's say the semantics thing up the front, which is just semantics. It doesn't really matter, but
because one of the other things I like is that means this is alien, this is predator, this is alien and predator.
Yeah. So look, you don't need to sell me it, Mike. I can feel you kind of and that means
no. I'm this is good.
So yeah, absolutely. Alien versus Predator happens at the end, completely, and Aliens is at the beginning, completely. And Predator, this is where I think that the backdrop of the conflict, we know we got the day-night cycle, that sort of shit. So look, the semantics thing to start off with. So I think having kind of cleared this up as this exists at the beginning of the movie is where the Marines arrive, they've got air support, so they're using the drop ships to get them in, they're going out, doing all their stuff, yada yada yada, happy days. We see how good they are. It's a cool firefight. Somebody does get killed in it, and it's Jesus, we're a little below strength. That was horrible. That exists there. With Act 1, because it can last a long time, like we just said before. So Act 1 is really the story, which is that you guys are good, and I know you're knackered, but you're close, and we've got a problem going on this one planet. It's a mining facility. It's old corporation facility, so it's a thing. We're going to need you to go down there and kind of put an end to it. I was okay, fine. So we know that they get down there. We know that the whole thing of it's meant to have this many, yada yada yada. What I thought was nice is that if we think of it as having Alien running like this and Predator running like this, and that when one's and they kind of start to zigzag where their involvement is, with the point that it's going to happen there. Freddy versus Jason, it's very sort of similar.
100%.
So that's the first 30 minutes up. So now we got 30 minutes left to get this thing buttoned up. I think we're in a
yeah, agreed, yeah.
So arrival on the planet, yada yada yada. I think what's nice is that how about this is just a thing with the kind of getting them stuck there. So air support doesn't work and that sort of stuff. They arrive on the planet, and it's
that's a nice touch because of the atmosphere and everything else. So one of the things here, air support, they go in, they can't have it from where they are. Their instruments don't read
something, and that causes the crash because something's up. They land on the planet. And
the crash is nice.
Everything you do, you make it worse. You've arrived there, it's already bad. So the arrival there's a crash, and we're in the night cycle, right? So we're dealing with aliens. And so in amongst the crash, there's like the little firefight with the crash, you know, they're kind of falling back into the main facility, get inside the facility. What would be great is at some point if we spend a little bit of time fleshing out who that is behind and what's up with them, you know, like maybe we could come up with something cool with that. But they sort of meet that person that's dealing with alien stuff. Behind the scenes, and this is what's so cool about Predator, is I think that we play a lot of his involvement here is behind the scenes. We don't know what the fuck's going on.
Yeah. I like
and
that.
What if predators have developed a new sort of hunting technique when it comes to humans, because they can just piss off, that like they do stuff, they're much more saboteur-y and kind of much more like wanting to kind of pin you in an area of fighting. Whereas like, you know, in the other Predator movies, they've been kind of like letting them kind of get on, but humans are just too fucking mobile now, so they kind of like to stick you down. So let's say that like their main ship, which they've come from, the drop ship, so in Aliens it's a Sulaco, you know, the big fucking great big ship. They go to call up to that and it's like no bueno, nothing's happening. And it'd be cool to have somebody on the team just being like, okay, you know, I may have seen this before, you know, I'm not sure what's up, but something's up. They start dealing with alien stuff, so like, you know, kind of like the beginnings of whatever you do, you make it worse type situation. And that's when, like, you know, we get more of the sabotaging, kind of keeping the humans pinned down. And so it's like this, as I say, this new predator hunting is to kind of like keep you fucking in place.
Yeah, I like it.
Then, so like we got they need to move because like the nuke or whatever they've got, the exterminating thing, isn't enough. Because it's like, you know, we got like this to deal with, and it's like, dude, this facility's fucking huge. Like what you got there, that nerve gas is going to kill this bit, but it's not that, it's actually this. Okay, have we got a fix for that? It's like, well, you could send that, you know, like the travelling thing, you could set that off to do something. Like we're here, but the explosives over there. Or, do you see what I mean? Like,
yeah. So they've got to travel to go get to it.
So, because you had like a thing where you were sort of talking about, like, you know, the bomb style thing. So what if we have it so that like we don't get to use the nerve gas as expected, or whatever it is? I say gas is a bit shit, because like a gas is like something cool, like whether it's what a technological solution be? It'd be like
or what if
guns, or
or what if
turrets, or
what if the gas doesn't kill them because they don't breathe the same as us, but it paralyzes them and then they can take them out. And the idea being is like, look, you can paralyze, but we don't have enough bullets for what's down there. So it's like, even if we save one bullet per thing, like we're going to run out of ammo before we run out of them, maybe. So it's like their thing is they send it in, it's paralyzed, they go in. There's always one or two that don't quite react the same way, and that's where they get, a couple of them get killed off.
What if it's something like it's a cool like sound thing, which kind of fucks with their big sensory stuff?
Yeah, that's nice. Like they can send off shock waves.
And it's like a cool, like it's a really cool, you know, like thermal detonator, wicked noise.
Yeah. So they set that off and it incapacitates them and they can take it out. They stop thinking as a hive mind. It separates them, makes it easier for them to pick off. They're disorientated. They're still dangerous.
We could nick something from. It's too on the nose. I'm going to say the thought, but we need to abandon it. Which is that, like in Half-Life 2, they have those like drilling machines.
Yeah, I know exactly.
Which the bangs kind of keep the creatures away.
Yeah, but it's too.
It's exactly the same thing.
Yeah, so the noise is driving them. It can decapacitate them, but they're like, we haven't got enough to hit all of them. All we'll do is slow them down. It's like maybe slowing down is all we need, because if we get to this facility here, it's like we can blow it. It's like this was an old mining facility. They've got all the gas that messes up with the instruments and stuff like that It's like all it's going to take is one explosion and that stuff will go off. It will knock up
I got
a
it.
crater in the planet.
So what if, right, the thing which we see at the beginning of the movie is kind of like the Marines are doing this stuff and they need to secure this weird, they make this weird device, and think of it like being assembled like a Stinger missile or something. So like these bits kind of like, they have to kind of like fold this thing out, and like it's pretty fucking big, and like the thing goes on top and like lifts up and then drops down onto something, and that noise and seismic sort of charge thing basically just kind of like it kills aliens like internally, you know, their brain just gets fucked up. And then the idea is that like you can't have, like if you've got facilities which get taken over a lot, you can't shoot them because you're just going to melt everything. So you need them just to stop. And so this is being developed to kind of what happens is that like in amongst this, one of the things, whatever you do, you make it worse, is that it's the thing it impacts into to kind of make the weird noise is dislodged and broken up, and they're fucked. And so they're like, well, we are in this mining facility. What if we take the charge, walk it over to here, set it over top of like the main reactor, drop it down onto the reactor? So we need to set it up the same way. Instead of our normal seismic charge thing, we're sticking like the reactor underneath it, and we just basically tap the side of a nuclear reactor with a hammer and run away. Like
and it's timed as well.
Have you got better idea? You know,
Nice, I like it. So then so they get to this crash, deal with it. Scientists can't use the seismic charger. They're fighting off aliens old style. It's enough to keep them back and to secure an area, but they're like, this isn't going to do. We need something bigger to take them out. Their ship, which has crashed and everything else, as you say, as they come across it, every little bit of tech that they may or may not have isn't working. There's a problem. Radio's been jammed. So one of the first guys that sets up the tower, he comes back, the tower's all been ripped out. They're just like, there's no way to communicate. This is the Predator doing this.
Fucking shit.
Act 2, they make their way to the facility using the walker because of the land.
Journey,
Night comes, wave of aliens. The thing's designed to defend against aliens, but not that many of them. So there's still a few casualties, few deaths. Sun comes up, it gets too hot. The aliens don't like it and start retreating. Like not enough, so it's like a full-on and leave. But like there aren't the same numbers of them as enough for them to clear it up. They get to the facility. It's trashed. The reactor is down. They don't have what they need. They thought they did. No, I get it. No, sorry. So at the end of Act 2, wave of aliens comes and everything else. Their only way to get out is the ground is starting to melt and everything else is just to get out. So they're just like their command thing is completely overrun. They get out. At this point, Predator comes in, starts clearing up some aliens. They have no idea what the fuck's going on. They get out of it. They get to the facility and realise all the charges are still on board where they left. They're like, but the aliens aren't following them. They're like, it's not that far. We should be able to get there and get back before the sun comes down to set off the charge. We can go back and retrieve it. And as they go back to retrieve it, they get taken out bit by the Predator that's now taken them where they want to. When they get to the thing, it slows them right down, so it takes them a hell of a lot longer to get back than they thought it would. By the time they get there, they get the charge bit. They only have a short amount of time. Sun is starting to set. Aliens start coming. Predators reveal. Aliens versus Predator. We have let's say 5 or 6 Predators just takes on a whole group of aliens. We see them, and at this point, this guy manages to get out all the way. Sorry, I don't know why I'm going back that way.
What we need to do, I think what's fucking with this is that I got confused there. We've got the structure of the timeline, and we've also got the geography of the mission.
Yes.
So I'm getting kind of like confused by that.
Act 1, 0.1, they come in, they kick ass, they let off this special charge.
I'm going to do some drawings quick, actually, because I think that, so broadly speaking, I think because we're going to just start raking over the same stuff, because we keep sort of saying this shit.
Just because that would be so much fun to watch.
Yes, I understand.
Obsessed with it.
So we know this, so we've got here, we got the sort of facility, which is where they think they've got to go in, and this has got the scientists do. So if we say scientist, and then we got walker pad, and then the walkers need to go across the freezing, melting thing to get to another sort of place, and this is where there's the big mining installation. I'm going to do this like this, so it's going to imply like major depth. And so what they would do is they would come at like so, and I think walker wise, like these things should be like maybe like the AT-ATs and Star Wars, but like much lower. And if we do it so it's like a train of them, because like a very scary thing to do is to have like something like, what's scarier than like if you're going along and the thing in front was completely wiped out.
Yeah, I like
and so,
that.
And like it's the inevitability of it. Whereas if you're on it and it gets wiped out, it's over
and done with. Yeah, I like that a lot.
So there's 3 of these fucking things. So look, we've got this beginning scene which we know happens on a different planet in isolation, where like they need to kind of like construct these weird kind of like leg towery things, and it's got like so the device goes there, and there's like this big kind of like drop, and the marine is like this sort of big. And it kind of like takes a few of them to set it up, and they've got like a perimeter going on and all this sort of stuff, and it raises up and it drops down. Weird kind of like seismic cool noise, freaky sort of charge thing.
Yeah.
Basically just scrambles aliens.
Yeah, you just see the aliens just like, and then just collapsing. Yeah, I like it.
I mean, it's really cool. They get like dropped in like the drop ships, and you get to see all the coolness and machine gunning stuff. It's fucking proper awesome.
Nice.
However, 1 or 2 people die.
Yeah. Just because it takes a while to set it up.
Yeah.
There's like nerves or whatever like that.
They get picked up. They get told, we need you to go to this place. So they arrive here.
No.
So this is
They're arriving at the mining facility. As they hit the atmosphere, it's so bad it rushes their equipment, and they crash here.
Why are they going to the mining facility?
Because that's where the distress call was, because this place doesn't exist. It's when they're at that place, and they're like, we need to call for help. Like, we have no idea to call for help, and we're not even where we're supposed to be. We're at this place that doesn't exist.
Sure. So look, okay, let me just illustrate
to
this as a mine by putting like a little wheels.
So we need to get to the mine so that they know where to send help. Like, they're going to send stuff to us, but they don't know where we are. They don't think we're here.
So, okay, hold on. So look, we got the plane comes in, then crashes and fucks up something here. Once again, everything you do, you make it go worse. So they break something goes wrong.
Yeah.
And stack it into the side of the building. Shit's on. They're now dealing with like aliens and all this sort of stuff.
Yeah.
What the fuck? We meant to land here. We've landed here. This building should be here.
Scientist is like, you're not supposed to be here. It's only a few that got out in the mining facility you're supposed to deal with. So what the fuck is this place? Not on any map or anything else. And that's where they discover this is where they're breeding them. They sent the people in because it was far enough away from this facility that they thought they could just deal with that mine and go out, because all of these people are scientists experimenting.
You've now stirred the pot.
Yeah, it's like up. All of our fail-safes are gone. Like, they're waking up level by level.
And like you've also like just in the surrounding area now. Yeah. Like stuff's.
So they're like, shit, we need help. They think we're here. We need to get to there. The scientists are then like, the ground is completely unusable. The only thing you can use are these walkers.
How come there's only one dude in there?
Perhaps it's not. Perhaps he's like one of the only dudes that gets in when the ship crashes. Perhaps the aliens just go fucking mental, and we get like a proper massacre. Or this guy seals it up, and we just get bodies. He's the only one that's been able to get up and seal the doors, but he's like, it won't hold them forever.
Well, maybe that's the thing then. Is that like actually this place is overrun totally. And they were meant to go here, and it's only meant to be a few of them. They end up crashing into this, and it's like, the guy's like, you've broken the outside walls. The only thing which kept them from getting in to get me. I'm the only one, like, this has all gone arseways. Do you see what I mean? He's already this lone survivor.
Yeah.
I think we could do something cool with this guy to say, we're running out of time, but something about him, like a Newt type sympathetic character.
Yeah, agreed.
Rather than the snarky shithead in Alien.
100%. And I also think, like, my thought would be, like, I had this whole idea of, like, there are labs all over every country where they grow diseases with the anticipation of not selling them to terrorists, but to cure diseases. Like, this guy is a good guy that's like, your technology to defeat him was developed here. Yeah, like this is where we found that stuff. Like,
when the initial call out happened, we wanted you to just stop it here, but that's too long ago. and actually you crashing into it has kind of really stirred the nest up. They're kind of quiet, but it's fucked it.
Yeah, and we've now got no protection. We've got to get to the mine.
So we're now in war things, so we can have we could have an extra sort of like fight. So we've broken this thing, so we can have another firefight round here at some point to do a kind of stock check of what they got.
Yeah.
And that's when this dude's like, look, well, the only stuff which works around here, they tried to contact the Sulaco, or the equivalent of, and it's like, it's not talking to us.
Yeah.
And they're like, that's a problem. Why is that? It's like it's not there. Like, okay. And it's part of predator sabotage.
Yeah.
So
Which they don't know. They're
no.
like, he's like, 1 hour without radio contact, they'll send backup. He's like, but that backup is going to land here, not where we are. We need to get that and meet them head on. So, because that's where they're going to send it. So they get there to meet the backup that will be sent. Act 2, or like...
Yeah. So like if that's the assumption that Sulaco's still there, that they're going to come here, it's not like a bigger distress call, so like more army are turning up. It's like assuming this is online.
Exactly.
They'll drop a dropship down there to pick you up.
Exactly.
Okay, so they're like, cool, love it. So now they go, well, how do we get from here to there? And it's like, well, the planet's surface, it freezes, does this stuff. You know, the only thing which we use is walkers. And it's like, how slow are they? 10 miles an hour? But it will get you there. Like, okay, fine. So they hop in and they go during the... So we're at like... daybreak, was the aliens just chilled out.
Yeah.
So they sort of leave during the day on board the walkers, going along. Maybe that's a moment when you can have that act 2 like chill, that brief kind of respite in the thing, and we can get to find out like the make this dude more sympathetic, being like, that the Sonic thing was made here. We're not complete twats, we know what we're doing.
He's like, there might have been a time like my predecessors had this place to sell them, to breed them. It's like, but when that got out of hand, it was like, we're the ones that came up with the task force, we did this. It's just like, And
so then when when these things start to freeze in place, because day turns to night, we get like another alien attack on them frozen in position.
Or what if it's a longer distance and it travels okay during the day, but at night when it freezes down, it slows them down. It can still move, but it's just much slower because it's frozen. So they're not traveling at normal speed. Sun starts to set. They're like, it'll take a day to get there, but that should be plenty of time.
If I tell you what happens if they're sort of going along, and this is like the nighttime coming up, and the one in front gets overrun with aliens and kind of like breaks and stops. Scientist dudes on board this one is like, look, you got to keep these things moving because that's what stops them from like freezing into place.
And
now like this one's having to kind of pivot to go round, but it's not quite quick enough, and we're frozen in this weird kind of like mess.
Like it.
And that's when we have like a really cool kind of like gunfight of like the aliens knocking about. And we could then get like, they're sort of like shooting, so then like it kind of maybe repel them back enough, and that's when like day starts to break, and that's when the predator shows up. Or should the predator happen at sunset?
No, I think the predator shows up just as the aliens are sort of leaving it, like ground's getting hot, predator's there.
Yeah, so the machines are beginning to move, and like predator turns up, 3 laser dots, one person gets taken out. And they're like, what the fuck? Sort of like start shooting. Predator's retreated off. He's got his first kill. They start to go round, starting the journey a bit more. How are we doing time-wise? 10 minutes, good. And they're now in the daytime, trotting along. There's only 2 of these vehicles left. And then like we could have the Predator take another person out from one of these, like on the back one or something.
Or like takes them all out. Like gets in and just carnage inside.
This is the thing with Predator, is he's always about
one-on-one.
Just taking,
or sabotages this one. This one won't move. This one stops, and as they're getting in from that one to this one, he takes them out because inside they're kind of semi-protected. It probably could, but it wants to pick them off. So
maybe we get these guys to be active. So what they're doing here is they know that there's a Predator now after them because that's happened. So they're now slodging around through the marsh, being like, "What are we going to do?" Because the Predator is going to come back, and they're like, how about we all pile up into one of these machines and we have a decoy one behind us? And like, you know, if we keep the heat up in that one, then it won't be able to keep the heat up inside the machines, and they won't be able to tell how many's in it.
Yeah, nice.
So it's like, cool. So they cook the interiors, so they're fucking sweating bullets, and they're all huddled up in one of them. So there's a 50% chance. And Predator kind of, like, fortunately for them, like shoulder cannons, one of the ship. They're kind of out, like shooting, and then maybe this is the moment when we can kind of reveal that there's two Predators at work.
Yeah.
And so like they're now shooting this guy, keeping him suppressed as he's kind of like under all the shit. They've got their gun turrets, everything's going hunky-dory. Mm-hmm. And another Predator just is like, with one guy on like a mounted gun emplacement. Is one of the most harrowing scenes in Predator 1 is when Mac gets taken out by the Predator, you know, with a bomb through his head.
Yep.
And you realise he's right in front of him. It's like literally like on right in front of him, and he had no fucking clue.
Yep.
And it's that sort of thing of like, Predator shoots the back one, these guys now suppressing him, thinking they're doing good. And this is where we reveal there's another Predator who's just like literally right behind the guy and just, you know, with like the telescopic spear or something.
Yeah.
They're like, what the fuck? You know, now start opening fire. We fuck with people's time perception when we let it start to get dark again.
Yeah.
And so like, they're now kind of like dealing with Predators.
Aliens come in as it gets dark. Humans get into the mining facility.
So it's freezing up. Yeah. We could kind of let it, so the machines, so like this firefight is happening, it's all pretty intense. The machines, we're missing a back one, so it's one left, and that thing freezes up in position. And they're like, I think we're close enough to run it across the ice, but we got to deal with the Predators back off because of the cold. The aliens are turning up. We could run. I can see it from here. We could run it.
Yep.
And it's like, fine. And so they got this crazy, scary run. Think of like Lost World.
Yeah, with the tall grass. Yeah.
Get into here. So we are deep in the balls of Act 2. And when they're in there, then what happens?
Well, so, I would have thought Act 1 is the arrival and the crash. Act 2 is the train sequence and everything else. Act 3
is here.
Is in the facility.
So what? So they get to here, and this is when they find that like these, you know, they know that they've got to nuke this thing. Mm-hmm. So what they're going to do is like kind of set up this seismic thing around the big reactor.
Yeah.
Because it's nighttime, so they've got like a little bit of aliens dealing with whilst they set this thing up to kill the reactor.
Yep.
And then dawn is when the Predators turn up, and like that's when you have like this moment which you all want to see, which is Predators kind of like hunting aliens for a bit, and like just kind of like walking wood chipper.
Yeah.
And then like starting to kind of go and like deal with, I don't know yet how we can kind of.
So
like
you've got these guys trying to get through the facility, dealing with the one or two aliens that are inside. So Act 1, crash, arrival. Act 2, this. Act 3, in the facility, taking out the couple of aliens that still are in there, the reason why they went, trying to make contact with the ship, no luck, no nothing. They're like, we can't get back up, we can't do anything else. It's like this planet is overrun.
Yeah, so the Sulaco is silent, and they don't know why.
Yeah.
We know that the Predators have fucking destroyed it.
Exactly, but they don't know why.
No.
And they're like, we
haven't got dropship up.
Yeah.
And nobody, and like there's no.
Yeah, and they're like, all we can do is take this planet out, and they're like, but we're on it. And they're like, we're not getting off. At least we can take them all with us. He's like, we've still got the pieces of this. He's like, yeah, but without the charge thing, like we're useless. And the scientist is then like, if you set that off in the main reactor, all the gas that's stored underneath, it should set the whole moon off, or whatever like that.
Yeah, maybe the thing is that maybe this water is like some sort of like petrol or something explosive or something kind of.
Yeah, or just like the gas, like he can just be like
the
swamp gas stuff, and then why wouldn't it have gone off with the?
Not quite right.
No, it's just like this mine goes all the way down, you drop off.
Yeah, so they need to set the seismic charges off. We've got 4 minutes, so we need to kind of. I think we're about there with this.
Yeah.
Nuke it, Predators. I think they should kill one Predator.
Yeah.
Successfully shoot. Once again, maybe that like a couple of them gets the idea of baiting and stuff like that, and in amongst the alien noise, they kind of like get one predator, and then like everything goes
tits up. They find a way of setting off or just overloading the reactor. It doesn't have to be their seismic charge.
It's nice that like it once again kind of bookends this technology.
Yeah,
and
or they like use this with the reactor and it will explode.
So that's gone, but it's now like just
nukes. Yeah, exactly. It's basically it's like this thing is basically a nuke. Shove it in the reactor of the mine. Is like, or the power plant. Maybe it's a power plant instead of a mine.
And so you get a cool noise.
Yeah, and it's like we'll take off the whole planet.
Do you know what that could be? That could be the atmospheric processor from Aliens.
Nice. There you go. Yeah, put that in the middle of this, the whole moon, and let's call it a moon rather than a planet, because then it's probably more believable that one power station would take it out. So
it's no moon. It's a space station.
They take it out.
Took you for straight.
Predators and aliens versus on the outside. Everything gets set off. It's gone. And then I guess the very end reveal is the predators on their ship clean up their skulls and everything else. One of them's cleaning the skull of a human, we don't know who it is. One of them's cleaning the skull of a xenomorph. One of them cleaning the egg, places it down, and it ends with the egg just starting to twitch. And that's it.
You're all about those final kisses, aren't you?
Yeah, just a little bit, because look, we're making AVP. The idea being is there needs to be a little something. So the little last bit is the egg. Just a little tease. Doesn't have to be anything. The reality is a predator would probably just be like, but it's just that little tease.
Once
to be
again,
like,
there's something to clean up. We've got 2 minutes 40 seconds. So look, the scientist dude.
Scientist guy is the guy that's been responsible for this.
Is there a way of like making him so he's like, as I say, more like something which we could kind of do with him to make him so he's not such a not the deep, because if you say to the director he's a scientist, he's going to be in a lab coat, he's going to have not sunglasses, he's going to have glasses, he's going to have like pens in his top pocket, that sort of thing. So what if he's like, if he's security there or something,
or he's weapons designer, and so when they show up he's not cowering behind a desk, he's got like some crazy thing he's made where it's like setting off something, like it's almost Predator like in its design. So he's then fascinated by the predator, be like sends off this thing and it slices an alien and they're like, what the hell is that? And
once again, too like, because you'd be like, why didn't he take care of this? I like where your head's at, but it'd be too like, why didn't you just fucking take care of business? So maybe like, so maybe sort of like a character like, let's say, low level security, or like, we've done relatives of with Newt, because obviously she's the daughter of somebody who's a colonist.
Yeah.
Like administrator thing would say it's corporation. So maybe that's the thing. Maybe he is a shit. Maybe he is like the Burke character in a corporation.
Yeah, and you know what? Then
and
that
seemingly like uses his. He is charming as shit. Burke is fucking cool.
Yeah.
And it's just towards the end you realise how much of a dick.
And then he doesn't want to let the facility go down or whatever like that, and they stop him.
That's the thing, the corporate greed, which fucks this plan up initially, which makes it happen.
Yes.
So he is not a scientist. He's corp, but like he's seemingly pretty cool.
Yeah. He's trying to justify his actions. It's not about money. It's about saving lives.
He's cool. He's like he's got his shit together, and he's just got, like Burke, and that sort, because Carter Burke's a sympathetic character. You kind of like him, and he's seemingly trying to help Ripley out.
Yeah,
it's just that when it gets later on, he's like, look, we could all make some money.
Yeah.
And so similarly, he's like, look, we could not blow it up, because.
Yeah. You don't have the permission to blow this place up. It's just like you're a grunt sent in to do work.
But it's also like we've kind of had that in Aliens, but it's kind of like in this instance, he's just like you know.
Okay, so the scientist is a douche. Doesn't reveal himself to be a douche, but when they realise they can't get off the planet and that their only excuse to blow it up, that's where he sabotages. And we can have a nice scene of him like trying to deal with something and an alien taking him out really nicely.
Predator this time.
Predator, yeah, cool. Yeah. Predator taking him out. So, I think we're good.
With the net gun. I always liked the net gun.
That one is, so that is the...
So let's time up. That's what that alarm was. So we got to just briefly, if we just write down where we're at, so we can present this shit.
So, facility overrun, brief, crash,
Yep.
alien, encounter.
Yep. So I'm just going to write night.
Yeah, night. Act 2
Is the travel.
travel, and then you've got alien, encounter,
Freeze.
2, freeze, and then you've got predator.
And the dawn, yeah, the night, dawn time, that sort of stuff. And then you've got the predator decoy heat. And then you've got it freezing again, so now down to just one of the trucks. You've got it freezing again just outside the base, so freeze.
Yep. And then you've got
Foot to mind. Yeah,
alien
yeah.
versus P, set off.
Oh, it's atmospheric processor, isn't it?
Yeah, scientist killed, predator killed, and then
Nuke.
bomb.
Yeah. Hard to draw it this way around. I could have just done it from my point of view.
And then egg with the predator at the end. Nice.
I don't know about the egg with the predator.
I like the end there. I like the idea that they could lead on to something
Yeah,
else.
yeah, but like this, I think that like we could afford this argument real quick. I think this is an interesting thing. So like, what I like about, so if you take like Aliens, and Alien 3, that they all have that sort of thing where like Ripley goes to bed, and you know she's still alive, so the potential for shit to go sideways is still there. Predator, you got Dutch just sitting in the back of the chopper, like covered in like the radioactive dust, and it's kind of like that's the fact that someone kind of like survives. I know we're kind of fucking that by nuking it all, and it feels like a big full stop. But like,
or what if it's rather than it being the egg, what if it's the predator with the skulls, and then one predator presenting the xenomorph skull, and then just staring back at it, like kind of like.
I've always found like the predator stuff looks a bit like what it is, which is kind of like people pretending to do some ceremony in a funny scene.
Yeah, I hear what you're
so
saying.
What if maybe then, like, if the final thing is the Sulaco, whatever we're going to call the new version of that ship, is that like, you know, the place goes nuke and there's a Sulaco on board, up above, and the predator maybe like they do something with that. Maybe they kind of like push it into. You see them do like maybe they like load an egg in there, shove it off, or I don't know. So you see them. Do you see what I mean? Because it like what bothers me with the kind of like those sort of endings is they feel like Nightmare on Elm Street 1, where she's waving and she gets sucked in through the door.
Yeah.
It's like you didn't need that to do the sequel.
No, I hear you. So then maybe it just goes off with the bomb. It just.
I know,
ends.
but I know what your point is.
It's a
like,
weird way to end it
because it feels like it feels like such a full stop.
Yeah.
Whereas like something. So whether, as I say, we hang with the Sulaco.
Yeah. There's more give there, power back on or something like that, and then they're just like, what the hell's happened down there? And it's like, I don't know, something's triggered something. Half the moon's gone. It's like, well, send a team down. It's like, so it's like send a team down right now.
Unless that thing's like just like in Aliens, it's just empty whilst the team goes down. It's basically just a huge vessel to kind of like move them into battle.
Yeah.
So it's empty still. That's what I mean. Like maybe the Predators, you just see like the ship kind of like almost like maybe tractor beam it or do something to kind of like imply that they're kind of like fucking with humans somehow. Do you see what I mean? Some sort of thing that like, because someone's going to find that ship.
Or the whole way through we haven't heard the ship or anything else, and it cuts to inside. The bomb goes off. It cuts to inside the ship. There's a small skeleton crew, and it's just a guy panicking, covered in blood, and we just see the 3 dots being like on its head, and that's how it ends.
I don't know. That feels like.
So then that's when it's like, that's why the ship wasn't responding, is because a predator was sabotaging it at the top. Predator got on the ship, to take them out to leave the group down there.
I say these sort of endings, because it always sort of ends with yeah, and it goes to the credits roll, and everyone's like ah.
I know, I hear you. I hear it's cheap, but it is very weird to end the film on a bomb going off and not have something.
What about like we? I don't know. Don't worry about it. I think that's good. Let's do the sum up.
Okay.
We'll figure it out when we sum up.
Yeah, we'll figure it out when we sum up.
Right,
Sounds good.
Pick this shit up. Got it on the wide, baby.
Got it on the wide.
Off we go.
Yep.
Let's do this. Okay. Alrighty, Michael.
Okay, so we've taken our hour and everything else, and we've planned out our AVP 3-act structure. Starting off, let's run you through it. So we've got our new plan. Starting off with Act 0.1, we get in. An elite team are dealing with a clean-up. We see them kicking ass, taking names, releasing a special kind of weapon that we've drawn down here.
The wrong way around.
The wrong way around. So that side, it looks like a rocket ship, but it's
I'll do it quick. You keep talking.
that releases a thing. They're holding a perimeter whilst they're trying to fix it. A couple of guys get taken out, but it sends it down. It decapacitates the aliens. It's all good. Start of Act 1. They're obviously a bit shaken. They've lost some people. Some of their gear was a bit faulty. They're pissed off. Corporate turns around and says, look, we appreciate that didn't go well, but there's been another incident. Beacon's gone off. We need you to go deal with it.
You're the closest.
You're the closest to deal with it. So reluctantly they go.
And they're meant to land here?
Yep, they're meant to land in the main mining facility,
Or
atmospheric facility, sorry, but they actually land somewhere else. As they're coming in, the gas and everything messes with their equipment and they crash. As they crash, they get off. They discover that they're in a place that's not marked on any maps or readouts.
And so this crash is like straight away into an alien encounter
Exactly.
at night.
Yeah, they're dealing with the aliens. They kind of get their shit together after they manage to seal themselves in, where they find a scientist who explains, or corporate guy who explains that they weren't supposed to land there. They were supposed to land a day away. They said about the atmospheres, like set them off, yada yada. They're like, look, your explosion's going to have rattled them. There are too many. They discover that this is where the corporation have been storing them, creating them. We don't know.
And there's loads.
Too many for them to handle. So they realise the relief will have sent a pod down to them. However, they're going to have sent it.
Oh yeah, because this thing. Yeah, so if we got the spaceship up above, where they use the dropship to come out of, that if it doesn't hear anything from them, we'll send another dropship to pick them up. But in all this shit, that connection's cut, so they're just like, well, that's cool. In a day, the dropship's going to land on the site, but that's the other site.
Yes, so they've then got to get from where they are to where they were supposed to be. The corporate guy explains that they're the only thing that works on this planet because the atmosphere is too dense for aircraft. There is these special kind of walkers. So they take the walkers,
There's three of them,
and cut across to do a day's journey.
So we've got travel, and so like in that they go in the daytime to kind of get the first of the things moving along.
Yeah,
that's a good moment to have the chat and kind of like start to humanise corporate a bit, make him seem like not so much
like all explaining that what they're doing there is developing that this weapon was developed because of this facility, and that they're trying to find a more permanent solution. It.
So now, like when day turns to night, the walkers start to freeze. There's the walker out. There are 3 walkers. The first one has like an attack on it. It's pretty terrible. Everything's happening nasty. And because they walk slower, and when it starts to freeze up, that like the walkers are kind of like frozen in place, right? So as this one, the frontmost one is completely destroyed. The back ones are kind of like trying to get past it, and they get frozen in position.
Yeah.
There's an intense gunfight going on to kind of like protect themselves during all this exchange. And then was it like day starts turning to so they survive this exchange.
Yeah.
2 walkers left. We start to move, and that's when we get the 3 dots.
Yeah. Predator takes out the first person. They realise they're in shit. Fight the Predator tiny bit to no avail.
Yeah.
They then realise
we got a Predator here, and it's going to come back.
Yeah.
And so they decide to heat up both the interiors of the walkers to kind of like confuse the Predator with heat. And they all pile into one of them, and the other one's they're both going to cook. Fortunately for them, their plan works out, and the Predator nails the back one, let's say, and they kind of come out and start like suppressing fire on the Predator, keeping you back.
Exactly.
Everything's going great, what a wonderful day, and it's at that moment and they realise that there's another Predator like literally over top of one of the guys in the mounted gun thing and just spears him.
Yeah, they then realise they're outgunned, they've almost taken out one, not quite, the other one. They get out, Predator starts to go for one or two of them. At this point the sun is setting, the aliens come back, Predators fight off the aliens. In this carnage they manage to get into the facility.
Yeah, so it freezes up again, the Predators start to back off, we've got aliens, and so now they're like, both the vehicles are incapacitated, and so they're like, they have to skip across the ice to get into the facility. And think of Lost World type kind of scenario of running across the ice and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Things coming out from the ice and pulling them in and everything.
Terrifying.
They get into the facility, and this is where the corporate guy, they realise that there's
This is Alien versus Predator now.
Alien versus Predator outside. We get lots of a few Predators tearing up aliens and everything outside as they're trying to fight them off. At this point, they realise there's no dropship, they've got no communication, that no one's responding. These comms are working, no one's responding, something's gone wrong. They're like, we can't hold this off, the only thing we can do, realising that the atmospheric pressure, if they set this off in the right way, will trigger a reaction, it will take out most of the moon.
Yeah.
Corporate guy at this point tries to sabotage them, saying that they can't do this, all their work is there and everything else. At this point, alien that was in the facility they're supposed to deal with gets the science guy, Predators come in,
so it doesn't get the corporate is taken out by Predator this time.
Yes,
so
that's right, yeah, sorry.
Yep.
Gets away from the alien, but the Predator takes him out as he's managed to get inside the facility. The last remaining dude, or dudes, we haven't ironed out detail.
I think two might be nice.
Yeah, set off the bomb.
So this device, because it missed this from the early exchange, we've established that it's not going to work with this many of them, is kind of applied to the atmospheric processor in such a way that it's going to blow the whole fucking place up. And there's no way off, so what they do is they kind of...
Yep, and it sets off reaction. At that point we come out from the reaction up into space.
So we need to figure out what to do with this.
Because the bomb isn't working.
Because the bomb's a good end to the movie, but it's like, it's such a...
Yeah, it's a weird way to end it, yeah.
So the Sulaco, which is the dropship which they came from, which they're expecting the call from, is the way out.
Yeah, agreed. Come out from the bomb to the ship.
So the bomb's gone off.
Yep.
We're craning up.
To the ship.
People on the ship?
No. The reason why no one responded is
that wouldn't make any sense. If they were in the ship, they could help out.
Exactly.
What they're doing just...
Yeah, they're just like, well,
you look like every better.
24 hours, it's only been 23. So there's blood everywhere in the ship. It's all gone.
Like weird ghost ship, kind of like, totally, not the movie Ghost Ship, but it's kind of cool.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
It's blood all over the place.
Yeah. And beacon going off.
Because if someone's meant to come and pick them, okay. So what if? I think it can. So if there's a beacon going off, do you see what I'm getting at? If there's if there's another team which is meant to be, okay, so these guys are knackered out. So if they were meant to be relieved by some, so there's actual one who's help me on, Mike.
Okay, so this incident was closer. So they'd done their job, but they're like, look, this is a real priority incident. They don't know why.
Why don't you send these people?
Yeah, and it's like, this is a priority incident. You're closer. We will send a relief team. So the reason why they're sent without their knowledge, they think it's because they're closer, which they are, but the reason why they're sent is because this facility, which is important, they don't know why, so they're sent straight away, but the relief team is still on its way. So when we pan out, the top bit, the beacon going off, it can end with the relief team coming to deal with the aftermath.
So you've got to see their kind of ship.
See their ship.
We cut the interior, it's all in bits. Inside there it sort of says, distress thing, relief.
Yeah, T minus, count relief team, T minus, however long it is.
Back outside, Predator ship.
Yeah. Cloaks itself, and we see the ship approaching from the far off distance. Also suggesting that the Predators were the one that set off the beacon that sent them there in the first place.
Cheeky bastards.
And that is how we would do AVP.
That's intense.
That is intense.
I think it kind of works though.
There's a lot, what I like about it is there's a lot of action that makes sense with it, because it's not the Predators hunting aliens, it's them after us and dealing with the aliens. It's kind of a nuisance.
It's also it's chance for new things. I think the motion's new, and I think you kind of managed to squidge these two things.
And the changing of the weather from the hard to the water makes it interesting, and also links in with a natural kind of the sun's going down, that means this person's coming.
Fun, whatever you try to do, you make it worse. It's all that.
100%, yeah.
All right, so look, not bad, Michael. Not
AVP. So we've done at this point now Predator, Alien, and AVP, and
Robocop.
We did Robocop first, yeah, if you watched the original pilot. So now we need to get into something else, and I want to move away from Aliens for a little bit.
Yes.
You've got an idea, I've got an idea.
Yeah.
I'd like to meet up again and do this again. Maybe not now in 28 days later, maybe not in 28 weeks later, maybe in 28 months later.
So to keep with horror, not to keep with horror, because we're entering the horror season, which is Halloween, we need to do a horror film, and so 28.
We are doing 28 months later as the third film of the 28-day, I guess, franchise. There's two of them. Playing loose with the term franchise.
It needs resuscitating. Anyway, look, that's that. So nice one. Thank you very much. Play the music. AVP doesn't have music.
No, not yet. Not yet. It will.